What I told Speaker Boehner is that I wouldn't vote for him for Speaker. And yeah, and I told him that I was in a 7-man primary and that I had to beat everybody. You know, the national groups were behind Mathis, the local conservative groups were behind Beeson. DeMarco had corporate Alabama pretty much in the establishment. Will Brook had a lot of the local chamber types and business leaders behind him, and this is one of the most conservative districts in the most conservative state in the country. When it came up in the forum and others were asked, I made the point that I wouldn't vote for him for Speaker. And I told him, you know, I'm fully aware that he will be the Speaker again, and I'm fully aware of what that might mean in terms of committee assignments. I very likely will be the lowest ranking guy on the committee that's in charge of making sure we have clean bathrooms. I mean, I understand all that. But I told him that if the first thing I did when I got up there is violate my word to the voters and break that trust, not only would I lose their confidence, but immediately in the back of his head, he would be wondering at what point would I break my word to him. And I told him, I said, I want you to know right now that if I tell you I'll do something, you can count on it, and I'm going to prove it to you by not voting for you. And he understood that. We've had 2 other conversations since then. He understands exactly where I am, and I'm going to work with him. But I can't vote for him for Speaker. So now the vote's in the conference. Once the vote's taken in the conference, and if he's the nominee from the Republicans in the House to be our Speaker, and it's between him and Pelosi, I think I've kept my word by not voting for him in conference. But I would not vote for Pelosi on the floor. So he understands that. And that's a far cry from saying that I told him I wouldn't work with him, when in fact I have told him that I will work with him. And I've even said that once the decision's made, Republicans have the Senate, the House has to be united. The worst thing that we could do is to go into the next Congress with a divided House. And I am going to be focused on being a unifier. Now, word's gotten out, and it's been in the Hill, it's been in Bloomberg, but
why?
So, why?
Yeah, is this something you've been following since you've obviously been focused on these decisions and making recommendations? Is this something that you've been following for a while with Speaker Boehner? Just
well, I've been disappointed.
Else you believe has a different vision?
Yeah, I wanted to again, not looking at every detailed decision that he's made, but I don't want to push amnesty, for instance, on immigration. There are other things that I think we need to be out front on. But I think there's going to be, particularly with the Republicans having the Senate, I think you're going to see a different leadership from the Speaker. And I got to thinking about this after I made that statement that I wouldn't vote for him, that after looking at it a little more closely, I thought a lot of this is unfair. He's never been Speaker when anyone other than Harry Reid was the majority leader. And the House has passed 362 bills, at least 362 bills that are in Harry Reid's office somewhere, in a file cabinet, in a trash can, in a mop closet, but we don't know where. Many of them are bipartisan, and they've never gotten out of his office. So I think to a certain extent, I regret having said that, but I said it and I can't walk it back. And so, you know, you give your word, you got to keep your word, or you're going to be somebody else.
I think that's a pretty big statement, though. I mean, you make a word in a candidates forum. I mean, we've seen politicians and leaders get tripped up on that time and time again. They made a statement, new facts come, they feel bound by their statement. So how do you, in good conscience, take what is a complicated, I mean, you're moving into one of the most complicated situations in the world, right, as a U.S. congressman, and you're going to continue to get new information and new facts. But if you've said once to one constituent...
Well, I didn't say it to one.
Okay, but if you did, I mean, at what point, where do you have room to actually get new information that changes your mind?
Well, it depends on the issue. In this case, I said I wouldn't vote for the Speaker, and I I'm going to keep my word. If this were an issue of national defense or something else, and that, I think that's a different deal. But there are certain things where you know, information can change, and it's not violating your word to go a different direction. You could give an opinion, and I could give you an opinion on an issue, and then the dynamic change and come back and my opinion changed because the information's different. But in this case, I made a definitive statement, and I said I wouldn't vote for him. And I don't know how many freshmen walked in his office and before the meeting was a minute old said I need to get this out.
Not yet even a freshman.
Well, not even a freshman, you know, and realizing full well what that could mean. And some people may think I'm nuts, some people may respect that, but the bottom line is if I tell you something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, even if it costs me something. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of guys that and gals that go up there and they give you the word, and then they realize it's going to cost them something, and they don't keep their word. I don't think that's the way to be. You know, you may not agree with me on stuff, but the one thing I want you to know when I leave here, or if I am elected, if the voters send me to Washington, is whether you agree with me or not, you know where I am. You're not going to go to bed at night wondering what Palmer's going to do tomorrow. What's his decision? Where's he going to be? I know where he is today. Where will he be tomorrow? You're going to know.